Yo, what is up guys? Welcome to the very first episode of Becoming a Wild Rift Expert. I am your host, my name is Christian, also known as HellsDevil, and you may know me from my YouTube channel. I am a multiple times challenger player, playing every single role in the game, and I'm gonna be breaking down this game for you guys. And I chose this game myself because, oh my god, it's so amazing. I have so many things to say about it, but enough about the intro. We're instantly gonna get into it because let's look at Fiora, okay? I immediately want to get into it. Let's put our eyes on Fiora. SC7 on the Fiora. Enemy has a Lee Sin, Vex on the Lee Sin, which is an early game champion. But look at the Fiora. Look at the map, guys. I'm gonna be highlighting the map, and she goes for a gank. 1 minute into the game, Fiora is going for a gank. She gets 1 kill and she gets 2 kills. Now you may be thinking, how the hell did a Fiora get 2 kills in the early game against a Lee Sin? Because, you know, if you're more familiar with Wild Rift, Lee Sin is the strongest early game champion, early game jungler especially, and he's really good at ganking. Now, how was WREC able to get 2 kills in the bot lane? Let me tell you, even though WREC doesn't have the best late game champions, and this is a lesson for you junglers out there, you don't need a strong early game jungler or a strong early game champion in your lane to win early game. You need to be unpredictable. So if we look at this replay right here, the reason that they were able to get those kills so easily is because if we look at Doom, he's playing Ziggs. Ziggs has his third ability. And what you can do with the third ability, you throw it behind the enemy, and those bombs are going to be slowing all of the enemies. So WREC basically used all of the tools that they had in their disposal at level 2 to be able to kill Hydro and Xiao, which is the Varus and the Rakan. So very good rotation by WREC right there, which got them ahead by 400 gold already, which is obviously really nice for them. So even though you don't have an early game champion, especially when you play jungle, you have to look at your laners, right? Like, for example, if you have a Darius, which WREC has, by the way, Darius is one of those champions that may not be the strongest in the early game, but he has his hook. And that is a very important ability to consider. He has a hook. Same as Ziggs. He has his third ability to slow the enemy. Same as Braum. He has his passive to stun the enemy. So even if your champion is not that strong in the early game, if your champion has heavy CC, heavy slows, just potential to catch out the enemy, you can utilize that and catch out the enemy and still get kills. So that is exactly what WREC Gaming did in this game, right? If we look back at it, even though Fiora is not quite the best ganker, because Fiora doesn't really have too many tools to stun the enemy or even deal that much damage. They have the Braum with the stun, and they had the Ziggs with the third ability. So even though they're not super strong in the early game, they were still able to pull it off and still get the kills. But if you actually look at the gold lead, 12.3 thousand up against 12.5 thousand. Why, you may think? That is because Vex is playing Lee Sin, and Lee Sin is very fast at taking jungles. And while SC7 on the Fiora had been ganking lanes, Vex was focused on actually farming up. He has farmed up a bit better than WREC Gaming, and that is why they're actually still ahead in gold. Although this is quite a neglectable amount to be ahead, because Doom is actually ahead of Hydro, the Ziggs ahead of the Varus. So it's still a win for WREC Gaming right here. Right now, this is still a win because, especially if we look at the composition of WREC Gaming, they have the Ziggs. We all know what Ziggs can do in the late game, right? He's gonna absolutely hard carry. The only problem about WREC Gaming's composition that I'm seeing right here is, even though Braum is good against bruisers, they actually drafted Braum very late on. Braum doesn't fit the composition of WREC, and it doesn't really work against Navi as well. And you guys will see in the late game what I'm gonna be talking about. You know what's funny? I was even casting this game. You cannot hear my casting because I've turned off the sound. But when they picked Braum, and I'll explain to you why, I said this is not a good pick. So why would Braum not be a good pick here, right? Why would he not be a good pick? They have a Garen who can ignore Braum, but first we have another gank, by the way. We're gonna be focusing on this one. Yet again, Fiora is really good at situations like this, but somehow, some way, Navi was able to counter it. So let's just quickly look at the replay and talk through this play right here. Alright, so taking a look at the replay. WREC Gaming thought that this was a free gank, but let's highlight Lee Sin right here. He's waiting in the bush. He's waiting and then he goes in. WREC did not see that coming. So even though it looked like a free gank for WREC Gaming, because they only saw Yakui, which is the Diana in the lane, Xiao and Vex were hiding in the bush, which is the Lee Sin and the Rakan. Amazing play by Navi right there, like truly amazing. And it really shows that in some moments of the games, you don't have to show yourself. Like, just wait in the bush, wait for the right moment, and then you're gonna go in. You can basically bait the enemy to go in and get those kills. So here, ooh, Ooh, Vex snatches away the dragon right there. Look at him, he's just going in and snatching it away, getting it for free, and they got the dragon. But now let's continue talking about the Braum, because I'm telling you guys, Braum is a horrible pick right here. And you know what? I explained a little bit about it. Test your knowledge. Why is Braum one of the worst picks that you could have possibly picked right here? Test your knowledge. There's multiple reasons for it. Put it in a comment, let us know, and I'll reveal it in a few seconds. You can pause the video if you want to. Put it in the comments and I'll tell you about it. So pause the video right now. Alright, I'm gonna say it right now. So there's multiple reasons why Braum doesn't fit in this composition. First of all, look at the enemy. Garen can go right through Braum. Like, he has true damage. He doesn't have any projectiles to throw. He doesn't care about Braum. Lee Sin goes right through Braum. Here we have another gank. By the way, as you can see, like, what is the Braum doing? Look at the Braum, guys. Braum goes in, uses his stone plate, which is completely useless because Navi doesn't even care about the Braum. But let me continue talk. Look at the Lee Sin. Braum cannot block anything about the Lee Sin. Let's take a look at the Diana. Sure, Braum can block Diana's first ability, but he cannot block her ultimate. Her ultimate is gonna go right through the shield. It doesn't matter. Now let's look at Varus. So, true, Braum can block out stuff from Varus, but the problem is Braum's shield is not effective against Varus' ultimate, because Varus' ultimate is still gonna be going through the other enemies. So you're useless. Rakan, Braum cannot block anything. So even if you block Rakan's first ability, Rakan is still going to be healing up from it. And another thing, look at REC's composition. Do they have a lot of attack speed heavy champions? Because the way that Braum works, as well as his shield, he has his passive, right? You want to be proccing that passive of his, which takes a few basic attacks. They have a Ziggs. Ziggs doesn't really want a basic attack. They have I forgot the name of the champion. That's funny. Jace. There it is. They have a Jace. And sure, Jace can actually proc Braum's passive. So that's one good pick with the Braum. Then they have a Fiora, which is a decent pick. And a Darius. Yet again, Darius doesn't have a lot of attack speed. Just Braum really doesn't fit in REC's Gaming's composition. And you will see that Navi is going to punish this. Because REC is basically, well, essentially playing a 4.5 versus 5. Because they didn't pick the right champions in the right draft. And you will see in this game how important the draft is going to be. So now let's actually talk about the way that they've roamed around in the lane. So look at Ziggs, look at Doom. He's going to the mid lane. And look at Hydro, which is the Varus, also going to the mid lane. They've swapped lanes. Now you may be thinking, why the hell would both teams swap lanes? Like, what is the reason behind it, right? Why wouldn't they stay in their lane? Let me tell you the exact reason behind it. So Ziggs and Varus are champions that can push out waves very fast. And in the current meta, you want to be picking champions in the dragon lane that can push out fast, like the Varus, like the Ziggs, like the Orianna, like the Morgana, like the Seraphim, you know, etc, etc. And the way that you play these champions, basically you constantly push out your lane while you're playing in the early game. All these champions skill well into the late game. And then the other thing, I quickly want to explain before something happens here. Another thing is, before an objective starts, like the Dragon or the Rift Herald, you can swap lanes, you know, bring the Ziggs to the mid lane, bring the Varus to the mid lane, and have lane priority. Push out the mid lane so you can roam around to the top side and to the bot side. And that is exactly what both teams have done. That is also why I picked this game to show you guys, because both these teams' macro game is on point. It's truly on point and just amazing play. And what happened right here, I'm going to go into a replay and explain another thing that happened, by the way. Alright, so let's take a look at this replay. Even though there doesn't seem to be happening a lot, let me tell you that a lot is happening. So Navi is roaming around to the bot lane. They want to get a first turret. REC's response to that, and I want to say REC's instant response, Rift Herald in mid lane. What does Navi have to do? Abandon the mission and roam to the mid lane. Because listen what's going to happen. If Navi went to the bot lane, sure they would have taken a turret, but REC would have taken 2 turrets. 2 mid lane turrets. So Navi cannot allow that to happen. As you can see, they roamed around, they were able to barely stop the Rift Herald from getting another charge. And basically REC got a turret, they got the mid lane turret, and they saved their bot lane turret. Amazing, amazing macro gameplay. And how were they able to do that? Let me explain to you exactly how they were able to do that. So if you look at the map, they have a ward on the bot side of the map. And that one ward gave them the information that Navi was roaming around to the bot lane. So they instantly decided to drop the Rift Herald in the mid lane to not allow Navi to roam around to the bot lane and then be able to push the mid lane. So these are some very advanced tips. Here we get the Braum being called out. Like, as I said, Braum, what are you gonna do against this composition? This composition is gonna destroy you. And to top it all off, Garen's ultimate will shred through Braum's shield. So, like, it's nothing. Braum is not going to be able to do anything in this composition, and it's going to hurt WREC's gaming a lot. So right here, Darius is actually able to get a few stacks, but he overextends. Like, as you can see, even though random on the Darius is doing a great job, it's just not enough. He cannot go in 1 versus 3. That's why, like, that's where you need your support with you, and they don't have the Braum. So basically what WREC is doing here is they're kind of giving free kills to Navi. And Navi is fine not taking the dragon right here. If Navi can get a few kills right there, of course it's good for them. You don't have to take the objective. So what Navi is doing right here is, you know, they're either gonna take the objective or they're gonna take the free kills. Also, they have a Lee Sin. Lee Sin is a champion that can very easily secure dragons. So if they get this dragon low, even though WREC can shoot some shots on them, Navi would be able to secure it. So right here we can actually see Navi is abandoning the dragon. Now let's think about this. This means that WREC could potentially rush down the dragon. The thing is though, if they rush down the dragon, Navi would still make it, and even if WREC takes this dragon, Navi could potentially take this fight. But it seems like Navi doesn't have enough time. They don't have enough time. They gave a free dragon away. And it seems like they didn't time their things correctly here. So Navi, not a good play by Navi right there. And on the other hand, WREC is doing a great job. They were able to take that dragon super fast, and they were able to get some kills. So WREC just making the comeback right here. And honestly, I would say this is more of a mistake from Navi than a good play from WREC, because Navi all went back, and WREC was probably thinking like, wait, did they seriously just all go back? Are they really giving us this dragon? So like they were hesitating a little bit. And if we look at this replay, Vi actually did a good job, which is the Garen. You can see him on the top side by avoiding the Fiora ultimate. Fiora used her ultimate on Vi. He ran away, so Fiora's ultimate was wasted, but it was still fine because random on the Darius was able to stack up his passive fully and basically scare away the entire lineup of Navi. So very, very good job during the teamfight of WREC, but oh, that was a blind one, by the way. That was a blind engage by the Rakan. He just engaged blindly. Oh my god, that was amazing. Shao, what a lad. Look at him. He just engaged blindly and got a free kill on the Braum yet again. And Braum is definitely not having a fun time in this game, and he will not have a fun time. Like, there is really nothing that he can do against Navi's composition. He's a frontline, but Navi's composition just destroys that type of frontline. There's really nothing that you can do. So right here, Random is pushing the turret. He's going a bit too far, you know, taking some damage, but it's okay. He took down a plate, got himself some gold. Like, WREC is holding on to this game. And if we look at the late game, like, who wins late game? It's kind of hard because both compositions have a strong late game. See, the thing is, a lot of people like to say, and I like to say this as well, because I'm not gonna make myself a saint to you guys. Lee Sin sucks in the late game, right? Like, a lot of people, including me, like to say that. But Vex is going to be showing you something in the late game. And the thing about Lee Sin's late game is, sure, he sucks, but he has one tool that doesn't suck, which is his ultimate. And this is an ability which is very hard to hit effectively in the late game. But if you hit it effectively in the late game, it will provide so much value that it basically makes Lee Sin a late game, like a valuable late game champion, as well as a broken early game champion. So I really want to put eyes on Vex in the late game to really show you guys how to play Lee Sin, because this guy, oh my god, what a player he is. And like, I'm not gonna spoil it too much. You just want to watch this game up until the late game, and just watch it up until the late game because it's gonna be amazing. By the way, guys, if you're enjoying the video, make sure you give it a like. It supports the channel a lot, you know. Check out WREC Esports socials. Check out my socials. They're all going to be in the description. And there's going to be more episodes of these. And if you have any recommendations of which teams you want to see, put it in the comments, as well as the test your knowledge. We're going to be reading through all of the comments, especially because this is the first episode. We're going to be reading through the comments and see what we want to do. So if you have any suggestions or really anything to say, just put it in the comments, right? So let's take a look at this game, where it is at right now. So Doom has quite a lot of items. Right here, this is wasted. See, the problem with Fiora's ultimate against a Garen is it's a Garen, right? It's a Garen. He's just gonna tank it up. And this is a big win for Navi. And I want you guys to look at WREC's... Wait, you know what? Look at WREC's composition on the left side. How many ultimates do they have available? 1, 2. They have 2 ultimates available. 2. What is Navi doing? Nothing. Navi is not doing anything. Why are you guys not doing anything? So Navi decides to just kind of relax because they don't want to force a fight. But I want to look at it at another perspective. If REC wastes 3 ultimates, which is the Ziggs ultimate, the Braum ultimate, and the Fiora ultimate, that is a good moment for Navi to take a fight. And this is also another lesson for you guys in solo queue, 5-man queue, competitive, wherever. So ultimates are the most important abilities in the game, right? Like these are the big team fight abilities. You know, Malphite ultimate, Senna ultimate, Fiora ultimate. Every single champion really has an important ultimate, except for a few, but you know what I mean. So if the enemy wastes a few of these ultimates, like the Ziggs ultimate, like the Fiora and the Braum ultimate, and you still have all of your ultimates, like Navi had, not anymore by the way, you want to look for a fight. Even if it's a disadvantageous start of the fight, at the end of the day, it's going to provide a massive advantage to you if your team has ultimates available and if the enemy doesn't. Now, enough about the ultimates, let's focus on the positioning of both teams right here. REC is trying to catch off Navi right there. They cannot. Why? Because there is a ward right in the middle of the map right there for Navi. Mistake that REC made right here. Not using a sweeper. This is actually an essential mistake. As you can see, Navi was able to clear out wards right here, which gives them the vision advantage, and REC doesn't have any vision right here. REC is walking in blindly, and as you can see, even though they are able to get a kill, it's too risky because they didn't know where the Diana was, and now Navi is turning the fight, and I can tell you exactly why they are turning this fight. So besides this fight being super close, I mean, look at Vex just destroying the backline, but besides this fight being super close, this was a severely disadvantageous fight for REC. And if we look at the replay, I'll tell you why. Alright, so I'm actually gonna start off the replay quite early. REC doesn't have a lot of vision. REC only has vision on the dragon, as you can see on the map. But Navi has that one all-important ward sitting in the middle of the jungle right there. So Navi knows what they're engaging into. REC doesn't. So REC places down a ward. Navi, especially Vex on Navi, uses his sweeper to clear out that ward. Now, REC has no information on the Diana. If we look at Yakui, the Diana, he's waiting in the top side of the bush right there, and only now does Random see him. So it's already too late, and as you can see, now the Diana is just chilling on the top side. She engages with a beautiful ultimate, which is just amazing for Navi right there. And honestly, you know what it is? It's as if REC is invading Navi, and like REC is just doing whatever, you know, they don't see anything, they're just trying to kill whoever is in front of them. And Navi was basically in full control, knowing exactly where REC's gaming was, so they were actually able to use their abilities a bit more effectively. So even though REC was actually stronger in that fight, because Doom on that Ziggs provided a lot of value in that team fight, Random was tanking up a lot of damage, they were still unable to come ahead in that fight. And the reason is because of the vision advantage. That is the whole reason, guys. So very, 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 very important to have proper vision and use those sweepers, guys. Don't only use wards, because here essentially, if REC Gaming had just used a sweeper, they would have won this team fight. They would have just won this team fight because they had an advantageous team fight. Like, look at the beginning of the team fight. REC Gaming was actually able to get a kill. So let's actually look at it again, but now in a different perspective. They caught out the Rakan. Look at this. They caught out the Rakan. They got a free kill on the Rakan. But even though they got a free kill on the Rakan, like, the Varus and the Diana ultimates caught them completely off guard. Completely off guard. And REC was just trying to run away desperately, and then Vex is cleaning up. That is what Lee Sin is good at, cleaning up, of course. Just Navi basically playing that team fight perfectly. You know, it's just great to see two teams of this caliber playing up against each other, because this is truly a super high level gameplay, right? Like me, right now I'm Grandmaster in the game. I can tell if a game is bad or low quality, sorry, mid quality, high quality, and then super duper high quality. I would put this game between high quality and between super duper high quality. Super duper high quality being like the grand finals of the worlds, right? I would put this game between high quality, which is a normal competitive game, and the grand finals, like in between, 50-50. That is a really high rating, by the way. And this is only the quarterfinals of Europe, by the way. This is just the quarterfinals. And it's gonna be very, whoa, look at that. Vex nearly got killed by that ultimate from Ziggs. By the way, put your eyes on Ziggs' ultimate cooldown. Put your eyes on it. I've probably counted to 5 seconds, and it's already 25% off cooldown. Why? So, a good lesson about ultimates in general, but especially Ziggs' ultimate, but it's about ultimates in general, is in the early game, an ultimate will have a very long cooldown, and in the late game, it won't. Obviously, this doesn't count for every champion, and But for a champion like Ziggs, in the early game, his ultimate, the cooldown, I believe, is going to be around 60 to 80 seconds, depending on how much ability haste you have. Of course, I don't know this exactly, but it's going to be long. But in the late game, your cooldown is going to be around 25 to 30 seconds with ability haste. Keep in mind, ability haste reduces the cooldown. So the base cooldown and then reduced by the ability haste. So that is why Doom was able to just throw his ultimate like that, trying to proc the Guardian Angel from the Lee Sin, and he's gonna have it up for the next fight. And I can guarantee you that Doom is gonna use random ultimates much more often, because in the late game, Ziggs' ultimate does a lot of damage and it does a lot of poke damage. So what you can do is just poke down the enemies. You know, you can literally just use it to poke down the enemies and you'll have it up again for the team fight. That's how strong Ziggs is in the late game. So right now, again, let's highlight the vision game. So let's pause the video right here and highlight the vision game. Who is winning the vision game, guys? Look at the map. Obviously, Navi is winning the vision game. WREC only has a few wards. They have some good wards in the enemy jungle, but it's obvious who's superior with the vision game. Navi literally has wards everywhere, on the Baron, on the dragon, near the dragon, in the enemy jungle, everywhere. And yet again, this vision advantage for Navi is gonna prove very useful for them, because it's like, as I said, it's like WREC is invading the jungle of Navi. Navi has taken over the entire riverside, both riversides, sorry, as their jungle. Like, look at it, look at the game right now, look at it. Navi is just hanging out in the bushes, and WREC is just desperately thinking like, what are we gonna do? How do we engage this? And as you can see, WREC doesn't even know what's happening to the Baron. WREC literally has no idea. Look, they waste a Ziggs ultimate. WREC wastes a Ziggs. Wait, I want to pause before talking about this team fight. WREC wasted Ziggs' ultimate just to check whether or not Navi was doing the Baron. And while the video is paused right now, I want you guys to understand how big this is for Navi. WREC doesn't have Ziggs ultimate, which is massive damage. The reason that WREC used their ultimate right there, because they thought Navi was rushing down the Baron. So I'm gonna go back into the video so we can look at this team fight together. So yeah, going back to the video right here, as you can see, Ziggs wasting his ultimate because they don't know. And then Navi is like, alright, let's go in. This is a good moment. And then Chow just uses his ultimate, free kill on the Jace, free kill. You see what I'm talking about? Like, exactly what I'm talking about is happening right now in front of your eyes. Navi had vision on that side of the jungle. WREC doesn't. Look, yet again. Clue is trying to go in and Doom gets caught out by the Lee Sin. Exactly. WREC is just being left clueless. They have no idea what they're doing. They're like all walking around like headless chicken. Like, what are we supposed to do? Because they cannot do anything. They don't have any vision and they're just desperately trying to go in. And as you can see, going in here would be a mistake. Random. Again, look at him. He's going in, desperately trying to stop the Baron, but he just gives away another free kill. And WREC Gaming, being one of the best teams in Europe, is not looking too strong right here. Why? It's because of the incredible vision game by Navi. And right here, Navi is going to be able to get a free Baron. And SC7, which is the Fiora, is not going to go for the, for the random play going for the Baron, because he knows, whatever, I'm gonna give away the Baron. What he did was perfect. He took the mid lane turret and now he's gonna be taking the bot lane turret as well. So trading off the Baron for 2 turrets, totally worth it. Unfortunately, not quite able to get the bot lane turret. If he took that bot lane turret, by the way, if he took that turret, he would have died and given away the Elder Dragon and lost the game, just so you guys know. So he made the right call. He took a mid lane turret and he pushed down the bot lane turret as well. Now Navi, so if you didn't know already, by the way, when you take the Baron, not only does it buff your minions, but it buffs your attack damage and ability power as well. And Navi is trying to rush down this dragon, which, okay. I already did a test your knowledge, but this was just absolutely amazing. So if you didn't see it, Navi was going for the dragon. WREC was like, guys, we need to go. Doom, and I believe it was SC7 or Snitch, bought teleport boots, which means they sold their old enchantments and bought a new one, which essentially wasted like, I believe it's like 800 gold from them. So Navi's play, I'm gonna go back to it just to show you again, by the way. So Navi's play right here, which is going for this Elder Dragon, like WREC thought they were genuinely gonna do it. So as you can see, Random on the Darius bought a teleport boots and Doom on the Ziggs bought teleport boots. selling away their old enchantments, buying teleport boots, which means they don't have their old enchantments available anymore, and they wasted a lot of gold. Yet again, massive, massive advantage for Navi right here. Just truly outsmarting RECs. Like, Navi is truly, truly outsmarting RECs right here, and is like completely winning the macro game and the mind game, which is perhaps more important than the micro game, which is, you know, actually playing your champion correctly. So I believe here we're gonna have a fight. Braum already wastes his shield. Like, Braum really cannot do anything. It's really hard for him. And oh my god, Vex just going in. It's risky to go in like that, as the Lee Sin did, because Fiora can one-shot you, but he's tanky enough to do it. And as you can see, they were able to kill off the Braum yet again, because Braum is essentially useless, guys. I hate to say it, but in this composition, even though Clue is an incredible player, and he has been playing this game well, it's just the composition that doesn't work too well with Braum. You cannot play against the Lee Sin like that. And here, yet again, the vision game, guys. Amazing stasis by Snitch, by the way, on the Jace, which absolutely saved his life. Amazing. If he didn't do that, he would have died. But the engage was even better by Yakwi on the Diana. He was waiting in the jungle off RECs Gaming, which RECs has no control of, by the way, because yet again, the vision game. And now they're gonna rush down the dragon. And it should be a free dragon. Fiora desperately trying to go in to steal it with a smite. And oh my god, he steals it, dude. Steals it on the Ziggs with the ultimate. He steals the dragon. What? No way. And look at SC7 on the Fiora in a 1 versus 5 position, by the way. Look at him, look at him. He procs his ultimate, gets a kill, procs his Guardian Angel, and now look at him. He's gonna run with his first ability. This is the slippery gameplay that Fiora has. Dodges the engage from the Rakan. How can Fiora do all this? You know what? Before continuing this teamfight, let's look at it again. I actually rewinded the video a little further because I want to look at this. I want to look at this steal again because look, let's just take a look at it. Ziggs' ultimate, boom, he steals it. This is like perfect timing, and honestly, like, it's really hard. But let's focus on the Fiora. So look at Fiora. She ults the Garen. She focuses the Garen and she gets the kill. And she's incredibly slippery with her first ability. She used the healing of her ultimate to buy a little bit more time. You know, when she gets out of the Guardian Angel, boom, instant first ability to dodge the Lee Sin engage. Right here, boom, first ability to dodge the Rakan engage. And she got a kill on Rakan. And she procced 2 Guardian Angels from Navi. Guys, what am I supposed to tell you? This is just amazing play by SC7 on that Fiora. You know, Doom stole that dragon. And look at him, gets a triple kill as well. Just absolute, like, wow, wow, wow. And this was Navi's game to win. This was Navi's game to win. And now RECs Gaming won the game. Unbelievable game. Unbelievable that it can just turn around like this. So what is the lesson that you should take away from this? Be careful with the Elder Dragon, especially against champions that can deal massive damage like the Ziggs right there. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed this very first episode. And yeah, I will see you all in the next Wild Rift video. Bye bye.